as a result of having that Section 56, I did manage to get 3 different psilocybin-assisted therapy sessions. And for me, the results of those sessions were really, the only way you can describe it is life-changing.
The man you just heard is Thomas Hartle, father diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at 52 years old. And in 2020, he became Canada's first patient to legally access psilocybin-assisted therapy. In describing his experience, he continues with the following words.
So you go from a state where you're wondering if every single day is going to be your last day, to being able to realize that if I pay attention to that, I'm not enjoying the things that we're here to enjoy. What's the point in living if you're not actually enjoying any of it?
What is fascinating is that stories like this are far from uncommon. And actually, studies have shown that over 70% of participants rate their psychedelic experience as among the most personally meaningful experiences of their life, on par with the birth of a child and the death of a parent. And studies, clinical trials have also consistently shown that these substances can lead to months of reduced anxiety, depression, and existential distress, especially for those carrying the unimaginable weight of a terminal illness. In recent years, psychiatry has leaned heavily on the idea that mental illness is a result of chemical imbalances in the brain, and that if we just get the levels of each one right, the problem will go away. However, what stories like these and the data suggests is that healing may require something more than just chemical imbalances, of fixing chemical imbalances in the brain. It may require changing how we see ourselves and our place in this world. So let's take a step back. Where did all of this begin? In trying to answer that question, one realizes that our relationship with psychedelics is far from something new. These are cave paintings found in the Sahara Desert by archaeologists dating back over 9,000 years ago. And it is believed to be among the earliest accounts of humanity's ritualistic use of psychedelics. From the Amazon to the Mediterranean, from ancient indigenous ceremonies to ancient Greek rites, psychedelics have long served humanity as tools for healing, divination, and transformation. So, how do we go from reverence to prohibition? So, believe it or not, in the early 1900s, psychedelics could be found both in research labs and in the mainstream culture. However, in the 1960s, things took a sharp turn. Psychedelics became a symbol of rebellion and counterculture, and in response, governments cracked down. Psychedelics were soon after classified as Schedule I substances, defined as having no known medical use and a high potential for abuse. Research was severely halted, and these medicines were driven underground for decades. Now, after nearly half a century, we are going through what is being called by the scientific community as the psychedelic renaissance, a period of revitalized scientific interests in substances like psilocybin from magic mushrooms, LSD, and ayahuasca, which are now being rigorously studied again after years of prohibition and stigma. Studies have shown consistently that these substances hold immense promise in alleviating the symptoms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, and addiction, often where conventional treatments have failed. But what does psychedelic therapy even look like? So, in a modern clinical setting, the process typically begins with a preparation session. So, the patient will meet with the therapist. It will set intentions, establish trust, and discuss things that might arise during the experience. Then comes the dosing session itself, where the patient will usually lie down in a calm room with blindfolds on and some soothing music, and always under the supervision of a therapist or a guide. Then, lastly, and maybe most crucially, comes the integration session, where the patient will have the opportunity to revisit and reflect on their experience, and with the therapist's help, hopefully turn those insights into durable change that will last for a long time after the session is over. And it's important to highlight that even though the results can be remarkable, psychedelics are not a magic cure, and they're not for everyone. People with a history or a family history or personal history of psychotic disorders are generally advised to avoid them. And psychedelics are also not a magic pill. The process usually involves hard emotional work and the assistance of medically trained professionals. But if you're in any way like me, you might be wondering now, how do these exactly work? How do they interact with the brain to cause such lasting and transformative changes? I want you guys to try to imagine your mind as a metal sheet, like this one, where each peak and every trough, every fold and every bend represent different aspects of you, how you see yourself, and the world around you. During normal day-to-day life at normal temperatures, this metal sheet is hard and difficult to bend. In this analogy, psychedelics work by heating up the system, increasing the temperature and making the sheet more malleable, softer, and easier to bend and morph it into new shapes. And as psychedelics leave the bloodstream and the effects fade, this mental landscape cools down once again and hardens into a new and healthier form. Normally, our brains are very good at organizing and processing the massive amounts of information that we receive at every given moment. It does this by using built-in assumptions, belief systems that construct a model of how the world works and what to expect from it. Under pathological conditions, these internal models can become excessively rigid and stuck in negative feedback loops. Under psychedelics, these beliefs are temporarily relaxed. And now your mind and your brain lean less on your internal models and become more open and receptive. It is this temporary openness, a state of heightened neuroplasticity, that lies the transformative power of psychedelics. And with the help of a trained therapist, a patient can use this window to revisit, to confront difficult emotions and traumas, and reframe negative patterns of thinking. The psychedelic experience offers an opportunity for us to see ourselves through new lenses and see our stories through new lenses, resulting in durable change that can last for months after even a single session. In a way, this modern revival mirrors the historical renaissance of the 15th century. Just as scholars of that time turned to ancient texts for guidance and inspiration, hopefully, today's scientists will revisit knowledge handed down by ancestral communities and integrated with modern scientific methods. And through this synergy, maybe we'll begin to tackle humanity's most enduring mental health challenges, and perhaps redefine the landscape of mental care altogether. In August of 2024, after a 10-year-long battle against cancer, Thomas Hartle passed away. And despite the difficulties associated with his illness, in those 4 years after his first psychedelic experience, he advocated tirelessly for other people to be granted access to the same treatment that he received, so that they too could face death, not with fear, but with the same clarity and peace of mind that he was able to find. Thank you very much.